Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Swan Song. Wow, surprisingly, the opening or the menu now has music. That's pretty nice. I guess that must be because I finished the prologue. So, I don't really know what else to say, really. I just finished playing Kingdom Hearts 2. That was always fun. But yeah, now I'm playing this. So, let's continue where we left off. Do I need to press something? Yep, I do. Kuwagata-san murmurs as he watches the water rippling in the wind.
大丈夫だよ。小学校に着いたらきっと誰かいるさ。
Tanomura-san is standing up front and looking ahead.
でもこんなに静かなのに誰の声も聞こえないわ。本当に生き残った人なんかいるの？
Kawase-san sighs. Nobody's able to answer her question. We form a line and continue on. There is still snow in the wind, but it's not as bad as last night when it blocked our vision. Winter is just getting started, so there will probably be more snow with no hope of it relenting. I run across puddles of water from time to time while wading through the piled up snow. The water in town must be flooding out. The water seeps into my shoes and freezes my toes. There are many trees since this area is an undeveloped woodland, but most of the trees aren't standing anymore, exposing their overturned roots along with dirt. We climb over them and walk on. The roads are challenging. There are piles of sand which have slid down from the mountain, blocking off the road. It's not as tiring as the sharp rubble-infested town, but the path is still tiring nonetheless. Tanomura-san leads the way, checks the state of the roads, and determine our route. Kuwagata-san follows after him to check for any dangers. Kawase-san and Sasaki-san are next, holding Aroe's hands. I'm in the very back and watch for any accidents. We packed only the bare necessities and distributed them amongst everyone except Aroe.
もうすぐだ。頑張って。
Tanomura-san encourages everyone since we're all quiet. He hasn't slept as well, but he's not showing any sign of fatigue. On the other hand, Kuwagata-san's face looks really pale. It must be a mental thing on top of the physical fatigue. Sasaki-san doesn't look tired from what I can see. Kawase-san keeps complaining about how her shoes are getting dirty and how her feet are cold, while Aroe is muttering random things. They're relatively energetic since they got some sleep. We keep walking in the slush like this and eventually reach the elementary school. The water hasn't reached this place, but snow and landslides have covered the establishment. The main buildings have collapsed. The gym looks as intact as the church we spent the night in. At the very least, its roof and walls are still there. We descend towards the school. It's far too quiet for anyone to be there.
あれ
Kuwagata-san points at something when we cross the field and approach the gym. He's pointing at a black object covered in snow. It's a person.
みんなはここで待ってて。
Tanomura-san runs over to the person and shakes him. The snow covering him scatters, revealing a red coat. But the person doesn't budge. Tanomura-san shakes him a couple more times, and stands up and shakes his head. I smell a burnt odor when we get to the gym. We don't hear anything or feel anyone's presence. It's devoid of life. Even though we're not talking, I think everyone except Aroe has reached a similar conclusion. Kuwagata-san squats down, his face pale. Kawase-san is looking up at the gym with an angry expression. Sasaki-san is holding on to Aroe. Sasaki is hard for me to pronounce for some reason, I don't know why. Who may wander off at any second. Tanomura-san signals me with his eyes, and I nod back. We enter the gym together. The gym is filled with the unpleasant smell of burnt rubber. The floor is scorched, and burnt clothes are scattered about. There are blackened corpses of people who weren't able to escape in time. Their bodies are twisted in pain, and the synthetic fibers of their clothes have fused to their skin. Ew.
ひどいな。
Tanamura-san mutters and claps his hand in a prayer.
こんなのは想像できなかったですね。
火事かな。ストーブでも転んだんだろうね。
First thing I thought was actually arson, but maybe it is an accident.
焼けてる荷物の数を数えてみてください。この数はどうなんでしょ
ああ、そうだね。8人か。
う。でも死体は2つしかないですね。
あとは逃げたんだろう。その時荷物を持って行った人もいるだろうから、それなりの数はいると思うな。
Where could they have
ここに
gone?
逃げ
Oh,
てどこへ
sorry.
行ったんだろうね。
Sorry.
思い当たる？
I always do that because the game, like I said, they don't tell you when the voice is gonna stop.
さあ、めぼしい施設はほとんど水浸しになってしまいましたから。
そうだね。何かチリチリになってしまった人と合流する方法があればいいんだけど、まあいったな。
Tanamura-san frowns.
とりあえずみんなで考えよっか。
We briefly tell the others, who are waiting for us with gloomy expressions, what we saw in the gym.
何それ。なんでそんな簡単に死んじゃうのよ。
Kawase-san murmurs in anger.
疲れ果てて注意力が落ちてたのかな。
どうしましょうか。
Sasaki-san's face is somber.
もう嫌ですよ。いっそのことこの町から出ませんか。どこか安全な地域まで行きましょうよ。
Bro, this is just the second day and you're already like super anxious. Calm down. Kuwagata-san's voice is cracking with emotion. He's trembling, and I don't think the cold is the only reason.
それは難しいね。
Tanamura-san waves his hand, holding a cigarette.
どこへ行くにも町から出るには山道を通る必要があるじゃない。今の季節に山を越えるのは難しいよ。それに地震の影響で道はぐちゃぐちゃだろうしね。それでも踏破する自信がある人はいるかな。登山の経験があるとか。俺はないけどな。
Tanamura-san asks, but nobody answers.
でも
Kawase-san says with determination.
私もこんなところにいるのもう嫌だよ。水浸しで気持ち悪い。どうにかして街を出ようよ。何か方法はないの？
やっぱり今は下手に移動しない方がいいと思います。
なんでよ。
Kawase-san glares at me.
どこが安全だかまだわからない。情報のない段階で動くのは無茶ですよ。危険を呼び込むだけです。
でもこんなとこもう嫌だよ。
Kawase-san shakes her head.
この景色を見てよ。ここよりもっとひどいところなんかあるわけないじゃん。そんなのありえないよ。どこに行ったってここよりはマシに決まってるよ。
落ち着いて考えてください。
There are areas near here with more snow, colder temperatures, and older buildings. This town has a relatively mild climate, and there are also many methods of transportation. I think it's best to stay here if we're to wait for help.
でも
もちろんどこか行ってみたらここよりいいかもしれないという可能性はありますが、それはギャンブルですよ。何にしろ今は情報がないんです。闇雲に動くのはあまりにも危険すぎると思います。
Kawase-san grows quiet with that. She still looks upset though.
それにそういえば昨日天子さんのラジオは聞こえなかったんですよね。
Kuwagata-san says this with despair.
ええ、何も。
それがもしラジオが壊れてたんじゃなくて、そもそも送信がされてなかった可能性もあるんじゃないですか。
まだなんか嫌なことがあるの？
ねえ、ラジオが壊れてなくても送信所の方が何らかの事情で機能を停止してしまったとしたら、当然音は聞こえないですよね。もしそうだったのなら。
He grimaces.
桑形さん、ラジオってどれくらい遠くの電波まで拾えるものなのでしょうか。
I ask him.
詳しくはわからないけど、ここだったら隣の県の音くらいは 当たり前に拾えたはずです。
それって、そうだとしたら。
Sasaki-san is flustered and looks at me.
桑形さんの指摘通りの事態になっているとすれば、隣の県もこの地震でかなりの被害を受けたことになります。どれくらいの被害でラジオ電波の送信がストップしてしまうのか分かりませんが、まあ普通の被害ではないでしょう。
そんなのあるわけないよ。
Kawase-san looks angry.
そうですね。そこまでの地震だとはちょっと考えにくいです。もし送信が停止していたとしても、何かの手違いが起こったと考える方が自然ですよ。僕はまだかなりの確率でラジオが壊れたのだと思ってますが、いずれにしろ決めつけるには早すぎますよ。
Okay, I do notice that the voices stop when there's an apostrophe or whatever you call those things are. The quote thing. I say this, but everyone looks gloomy.
でもそれが本当だったとしたら、周りも全部こんなに壊れちゃったんだとしたら、どこに行っても無駄ってことだよね。どこにも安全な場所なんかないってことでしょ。そしたらもう何もかもダメってことじゃないの？
まあまあ、
Hanamura-san pats Kawase-san's shoulder.
何もかもダメって、そんな世界が滅んだわけじゃないんだからさ。
でもほとんどそうみたいなもんじゃん。もうダメだよ。
だからそれはまだ想像の一つでしかないんだって。天子くんが言う通り、俺もきっとそこまではひどくないと思うな。そんな分かりもしないことより目先のことを考えないかい？とりあえず今日の昼食とかさ。
僕もその意見に賛成です。今やれることはまだたくさんあるはずですから、それをやっていくべきでしょう。いずれにしたってこの状況ですぐに行き届いた支援が行われるとは思いません。当面は自分たちで何とかしないといけないんです。
全く天子くんの言う通りだ。俺は全面的に大賛成だよ。とりあえず教会に戻ろう。これ以上ここにいたって仕方ないと思うんだ。逃げた人たちもこんな場所に戻っては来ないだろうしね。
You know, I don't know. It's probably just my gut feeling, but I don't really trust Hanamura. I don't know. Usually people who are confident like this ends up betraying you the first, like ends up being very fucked up. But who knows, maybe he might not be that kind of trope. Hanamura-san puts his cigarette butt into a portable ashtray and picks up his bag from the snow.
でもさ、
Kawase-san doesn't seem convinced.
私も今考えても仕方ないことだと思うわ。ひばり、今はとにかく我慢するしかないよ。
ゆかっちまで。そりゃ私だって分かってるよ。でもやっぱり不安になっちゃうじゃない。なんでみんなそんな平気でいられるの？私は頭が変になりそうだよ。
Kawase-san bites her fingernail.
僕も全然平気じゃないですよ。なんだかめまいがします。
Kuwagata-san looks like he'll really pass out any second now. Kawase-san glances at him and sighs.
クワガタと一緒か。
ほら、みんな行くよ。風が強くなってきた。
Hanamura-san urges everyone.
もうめちゃくちゃ。ほんとどうなっちゃうんだろう。
With that, Kawase-san lifts up her bag and follows after Tanamura-san. Kuwagata-san reaches out for his bag as he murmurs to himself.
きっとどうにもなりませんよ。みんな死んじゃうんだ。
This guy,
頑張
man.
ったって。どうせここでみんな。
Man, this guy is gonna do something that's gonna fuck us all up. Can we, like, leave this guy? This is, like, I don't like when he mumbles like this. Kawase-san turns around sharply at those words. Kuwagata-san stops in surprise, but Kawase-san doesn't say anything. Sighs, turns around, and starts walking again. Seeing that, Kuwagata-san starts walking as well. Aroe is lining up snowballs on the ground, so I get her to stand up.
どこか冷たかったり痛かったりするところはない？
I ask. Aroe gives a meaningless reply. I hold out my hand and she takes it. Sasaki-san is standing on the other side of Aroe.
本当に平気な人なんか誰もいませんよね。
She speaks to no one and brushes off the snow on Aroe's hair. Aroe does not pay attention to her and stares off into the distance. In the direction she's looking lies the corpse covered in snow. The air is roaring. The wind is starting to regain last night's intensity. It's dark even though it's daytime. We return to the church and me, Tanamura-san, and Kuwagata-san set out again. We put on scarves and hats, doing everything we could to fend off the cold. But there's nothing we can do about the slush. We dried our shoes at the church, but they're getting soaked again.
ゴム長があればよかったのにね。
Tanamura-san smiles bitterly.
足が動かなくなる前に済ませたいですね。
I answer. According to Tanamura-san, who lives around here, there is a supermarket nearby. We have decided to stay at the church for the time being, so there are many things we need immediately. Bedding, drinking water, and food. There are endless lists of things we want, but we decided that these three take priority.
スーパーまで行かなくてもその辺りの住宅から拝借してもいいんじゃないですか。
Kuwagata-san has a point, but
使えそうな家があればそれも考えるけど、
like Tanamura-san said, most houses around here have been completely destroyed since many of them are old and must have had weak foundations. I feel a bit bad about taking food or bedding from these houses.
それとも掘り起こして引っ張り出してみるかい？よく探せば無事なのもあるだろうけれど、つい先日まで住人が使ってたやつが。
いや、それはやっぱり気がとがめます。
I think that's okay, like, they're already dead, right?
そうだよね。俺もできれば他人の家を引っかき回したくないな。
They're still surprisingly very composed, to be fair. I would be fighting for my life a lot more than they are. You know, I'd be a lot more desperate. Hanamura-san smiles bitterly. I feel the same way. We reach our destination. The store is made of reinforced concrete, so it's only damaged in several places and looks decent after having seen all the other destroyed buildings up until now. But it still looks like a collapsed building from a normal person's point of view. We circle it once, but can't find an entrance that we can still use. So we decide that doing something about the bent shutter would be the easiest way to get in. But it doesn't budge even when all three of us pull at it. So we go find objects to hit the bent part with.
なんだかちょっと悪いことしてるような気がしますね。
Kuwagata-san makes a strange face while holding an iron pipe. The shutter eventually comes off the railing and we're able to make our way into the dark store. I loosen my muffler and brush the snow off myself. He makes a good point though. The shelves are knocked over and things are scattered all over the place. We first make our way to the household goods section, find flashlights and batteries from among the items on the floor, and manage to obtain lights for each of us. We pick up necessary things and stuff them in empty bags. We take the blankets on sale and wrap them in a plastic sheet so they won't get wet. Besides the things we plan to get, I take a radio and stuff it in my pocket. Hanamura-san is putting a carton of cigarettes and coffee sugar into his bag. Kuwagata-san is looking at portable chests and shogi sets. Well, I guess that makes sense. You do get crazy when you get bored, so... I was gonna, like, be kind of angry at Kuwagata-san, but it makes sense why he would get some entertainment items. It seems everyone is cheerful since we easily obtain what we wanted. It's stormy, but we don't feel uneasy since it's a route we've already taken. But I'm having trouble with the heavy bag and drop it from time to time. It's because my right hand does not have the strength to hold on to the bag.
どうしたの？
Hanamura-san asks, so I tell him that it's nothing. We reach where the road is split up. The ground must have sunk, as water has flowed out from a pond, and it's blocking our way, like a river about waist high.
どうする？
We walked on the submerged houses' roofs on our way here, but we are carrying heavy bags now. There are places where we had to jump, but that would be difficult for us now.
僕は迂回したいです。
Kuwagata-san says this.
迂回しましょう。
I agree. If we push ourselves and go on, I'll probably fall into water more often than not.
そうだね。安全策を取ろう。俺はいけそうだけど。
Hanamura-san, who is carrying lots of bags on his back, looks like Santa Claus or a robber who's stolen too much. And when we turn, I hear something among the sound of the wind. It seems like the other two didn't hear it, so I speak up.
今人の声が聞こえました。
This guy has really good hearing, what the fuck? Yesterday, he was also hearing about the water, right?
どこから？
Tanamura-san turns around, so I point to the direction the voice came from. It's one of the houses in the water that we walked on the roof of.
あそこの中から？
Kuwagata-san is surprised. I nod back to him.
聞き間違いじゃないんですか？僕は何も聞こえませんでしたよ。
確かに気のせいかもしれませんが、気になります。ちょっと見てきます。
This guy's too kind-hearted, dude. Holy shit. I place the bags on the ground and jump onto the roof. The roof tiles tumble down, splashing in the water below.
危ないよ。
Tanamura-san comes over as well.
この辺りですね。
I stand on the roof and point by my feet. I say roof, but it's full of holes, and broken posts are sticking out. It's hard to imagine that there's anyone alive in this destroyed house, but I did hear a voice from here. I remove the rubble and place my ear to the roof. But I don't hear anything now.
本当にここから聞こえたの？
ええ。
Tanamura-san gets on all fours next to me and put his ear against the roof as well.
誰かいますか？
When he calls out, I hear a faint sound, followed by a moan. I raise my head and see that Tanamura-san is also staring at me with sharp eyes. We nod to each other.
たっちゃんも来て。この中に人がいる。
There is? Tanamura-san calls out to Kuwagata-san, who is watching us uneasily. We remove the roof tiles, pull out the broken posts, rip off boards using a metal pipe for leverage, and find a surprisingly deep space inside. Broken materials are piercing through the ceiling boards and have become intertwined. There are so many obstacles that I can't clearly see inside, let alone go down there. The place is flooded, and I see some sandals and styrofoam floating around. Tanamura-san and I shine our flashlights in between the obstacles. Our faces are so close that I feel Tanamura-san's warm breath on my cheek.
生きてますか？
Kuwagata-san calls out from behind me, and his voice echoes across the water surface. As if in reply, a faint voice whispers from within the darkness.
あそこの後ろです。
I indicate the direction of the voice using my flashlight.
本当？
間違いありません。
I nod since I can feel Tanamura-san's gaze on me, and I start removing the lumber blocking our view. It's firmly fixed in place, but we manage to pull it out by tying a rope to it and having all three of us pull it at the same time. Water splatters onto the snow on the roof, disturbing it. I look in again. This time, there's nothing blocking my vision, and I'm able to see a white shadow. I shine my flashlight at it. Are you okay? The figure of a small girl appears within the darkness. A girl who looks to be in her oh my god, elementary school years is breathing under many intertwined pieces of rubble. Her closed eyelids react to the light. Her body is above water, and she barely avoided getting wet. Pink pajamas with smiling anime characters cover her body. Like an insect trapped in a spider's web, her slender limbs are entangled in the rubble, bending in impossible directions. Tanamura-san gasps next to me. Her large eyes open. She knits her soft-looking brows. Her mouth is moving to say something, but it only produces moans. Maybe because her throat and tongue are stiff from the cold. White breath escapes her mouth instead of words. They do not become words, and they trail off in the end. Tears begin to well up in the girl's eyes. Her lips are shaking.
大丈夫だ。頑張れ。
Tanamura-san speaks to the girl, but in contrast to his words, his face is pale. She opens her mouth again. She slowly moves her lips while creating white clouds around her mouth. Hmm? Oh god, that guy. I turn around at the voice to see that Kuwagata-san is holding his mouth. The girl continues to try to speak. Distinct words finally escape her mouth, and she starts to cry.
頑張れ。あとちょっとだ。よく我慢したね。すごいぞ。
Tanamura-san encourages her, but he sounds like he's about to cry. I realize that I've been frozen in place and forced my upper body up to look around. I have to do something. I don't want to watch her die without doing anything. We need to make another hole closer to her if you are to rescue her. I need a powerful tool to destroy the still solid structure. It can't just be anything though. The rubble is piled up in a delicate balance, keeping her alive. I need something that can quickly tear down the solid structure without creating any kind of vibration. I list the condition in my head, but I can't think of anything. And there's nothing at hand that would conveniently give me a bright idea. Oh god. I can't tell if she's crying or moaning. I just stand there, trying to figure out what I can do. That's when the ground silently starts to shake.
こんな時に
Of course. Tanomura-san clucks his tongue. The shaking is gradually getting stronger.
どいてください。
I push Tanomura-san aside, push myself into the gap, and reach out with my hand. My head and one shoulder go through, but my other shoulder gets stuck. The house shakes and the water starts dancing around in front of my face.
危ない
Tanomura-san grabs my coat and tries to pull me back, but I cling to the spot. The girl is barely out of reach. The house starts creaking ominously on. Fucking hell, dude.
こっちを見るんだ。
I can touch her if her left hand moves just slightly, but she is panicking from fear and isn't even noticing the hand right by her. Her eyes are vacant from terror. The shaking is getting stronger.
ほら、
The girl finally notices my hand. Her eyes meet my gaze. She starts to say something when everything before me collapses. Ah, of course. Of course.
あんな小さい子供なのにどうしてこんな目に
Kuwagata-san is kneeling on the ground with tears running down his cheeks.
ずっとあの場所にいたんでしょうか。一人でどんな気持ちで行く時に気がついていれば助けてあげられたかもしれないのに。
Tanomura-san silently watches Kuwagata-san cry and keeps smoking. The aftershock ended right away. I thought the roof sank a lot when I was on it, but now that I'm off the roof, I can't really tell the difference. But still, the interior of the structure is critically different. Even if we'd noticed her earlier like Kuwagata-san said, our chance of saving her was probably close to zero. How can amateurs like us hope to save a small body trapped in such a space? Everyone intuitively figured that out when we first found her. Kuwagata-san must be crying over it with that in mind.
天子くんは結構勇気あるよね体を突っ込んでさ
Tanomura-san brings it up as if he just remembered it.
すいません。勝手に危険を冒してしまって。
いや責めてるんじゃないよすごいなって思って
何も考えのない行動でした。手が届けば助けられるって思ったわけでもないし。
とっさに体が動いちゃったんだね
Tanomura-san holds up his cigarette and
結構意外だったな
he throws it in the water. I stare at my useless right hand that I held out to her.
そろそろ行こ
When Tanomura-san says this, Kuwagata-san lets out a gasp. I look at where he's pointing.
あれは
We lose our words. Blood is soaking into the water from that house. The red spreads like a rose blooming in the water. Kuwagata-san crumples down onto the snow again. The new radio only plays annoying static as expected.
やっぱりもう全部めちゃくちゃになっちゃってるのよ。それ以外考えられないわ。
Kawase-san frowns and turns off the radio, annoyed.
まだ決めつけるのは早いよもしかしたら何か他のハプニングがあったのかもしれないよ
Tanomura-san's cheerfulness feels out of place.
ハプニングって何よ。
いやそれはわからないけどそうだったらいいなって思ってさ
気休めはやめてよ。田野村さんってほんといい加減だよ。
Tanomura-san smiles bitterly and shuts his mouth. We're sitting in a circle around the fire in the center of the chapel. The pieces of a desk we destroyed fuel the fire. The wood is popping and the smoke smells slightly of varnished wood. We heated and ate some instant curry, then crowded around the fire to warm ourselves up. Aroe makes a strange expression and starts flipping through her notebook. Tanomura-san immediately pours some previously prepared coffee from a pot into Aroe's mug. Aroe sits up straight and grabs the cup using both hands.
飲ませすぎじゃないの？
Kawase-san complains.
これで3杯かな。もうおしまいにするよ。ひばりちゃんは結構細かいよね。
I actually don't know what pedantic is, so I'm gonna Google that real quick. Oh, okay. Something like a pedant? It's a pedant. What's a pedant? Okay. A person who is excessively concerned with minor details. Okay. So, a stickler to the rules.
うるさいよ。
Kawase-san puffs out her cheeks.
温まりましたか？
Sasaki-san asks me. My pants got wet while I was outside, and my feet were numb by the time I got back here. I touch my feet, which I've held near the fire until now. My toes are hot already, and my socks are dry.
ええ、もうすっかり大丈夫みたいです。
I put my socks on.
頭から落ちなくてほんと良かったですね。あんまり危ないことしないでくださいよ。
Sasaki-san smiles.
あ、そうだ。
Tanomura-san sounds like he remembered something.
何？
Kawase-san looks at Tanomura-san with suspicion.
きっとそのラジオも壊れてるんだよ。後でもう一つ持ってこよう。次こそ放送が聞こえるんじゃないかな。
何を言い出すのかと思えば。
そうだそうだ、きっとそうだ。次こそ大丈夫だって。いやー、楽しみだな。それでさ、状況が分かって落ち着いたらさ、そしたら音楽とか聞きたいよね。なんか音楽がないとどうも生活がシャンとしないんだよ。ねえねえ、ひばりちゃんはさ、どんなアーティストが好き？
大体そんなに何台もラジオが壊れるわけないじゃないよ。
Man, Tanomura is just trying to lighten up the mood. Jeez, this girl.
いやー、わからないよ。世の中って摩訶不思議なものだからね。これだけありえないことが起きたんだ。それくらいの偶然があったって驚かないでしょ？
でもだからって。
ひばりちゃんが何と言おうと、俺はそう思ってるよ。
Damn, he's like, I don't care what you think. Tanomura-san laughs and Kawase-san sighs as if she's utterly amazed.
よく笑ってられますね。
Kuwagata-san, who has been silent up to now, suddenly speaks out. He's staring into the fire.
人が死んだばっかりだっていうの。
クワガタさん、
I stop him. We haven't told them what happened outside, and I don't think there's any need to.
いや、
Kuwagata-san glances at me, then stares at Tanomura-san.
だってひどいじゃないですか。今笑うようなことなんか何もないじゃないですか。昨日地震があってたくさんの人が死んでまだ少ししか経っていないんですよ。どうしてそんな態度でいられるんですか？悲しいとか思わないんですか？
Oh man, this guy.
そうだね。すごく悲しいよね。
Tanomura-san nods with a serious expression.
じゃあ
でも、クワガタさん、
Sasaki-san timidly interjects. Kuwagata-san looks at her with a bit of surprise.
田野村さんが明るくしてくれてるのは、私には頼りになってるんです。静かにしていると、どうしても気持ちが変な方向へ行ってしまうし。
Gosh, this girl is so, like, cool-headed. Like her a lot. Kuwagata-san looks sad for a second, then hangs his head.
ごめんなさい。そうですよね。田野村さんは分かってて、その上で明るく振る舞ってるだけなんですよね。田野村さんが強くて、僕が弱いだけなんですよね。
I don't know about that.
そういう意味じゃないんです。私も。
Sasaki-san is cut off.
大丈夫です。もう余計なこと言いませんから。ごめんなさい。
Kuwagata-san then shuts up. Sasaki-san and Tanamura-san watch him with troubled expressions. The air gets tense and silence fills the room. Time passes without anybody speaking.
そういえば知ってますか？
I raise and open my hand in front of everyone.
よくピアノを弾くのに指が届かないからってこの水かきのところを切っちゃう話とかあるじゃないですか。それでコンクールの前にノイローゼになって本当に切っちゃった人がいるんですけど、血が出すぎてコンクールに出られなくなって失意のあまり自殺しちゃったんですよ。
What the
おかしい
fuck?
ですよね。
What the fuck? Okay, the translation fucked up, okay? It's not funny thing. It's like, isn't it strange? My god, if that was truly what he said, that was so fucked up. Everyone stares at me in surprise.
おかしくないですか？
Strange,
ちょっと
okay?
待って。
It's not funny.
もしかしてそれ冗談のつもりなの？
Kawase-san stares at me.
ええ。
Oh god. You suck at telling jokes. I nod.
あんたの脳みそ腐ってるよ絶対。
The fuck? She says.
でも、
黙ってコーヒーでも飲んでなさいよ。
はあ、
Damn, this is so awkward. God. Oh no. This guy's just trying to be. I don't know. I like Mako Tsukasa. I like this guy. But Jesus. Yuka and Kuwagata, they both suck. I look at the cup of coffee in my hand.
あんたってなんかちょっと変だよね。
そうですか。
親の顔が見てみたいよ。
You know how rude that sounds? Jesus.
見たことはないんですか？
なんで私があんたの親なんかしてなくちゃいけないの？
Oh, is he actually... Is he popular? Or from a rich family?
指揮者の天子和樹って知りませんか？あれが僕の親です。
テレビで見たことある。本当なの？
I guess he is.
本当です。
じゃあすっごい育ちがいいんじゃないの？外国で生活したとか。
よくわかりましたね。子供の頃はオーストリアに住んでいました。
すごい。
僕がすごいわけじゃないですよ。
当たり前でしょ。
Jeez, this girl is pissing me off. What the fuck?
ええ。
でもさ、オーストリアってコアラとかカンガルーとかいるんでしょ？
No, that's Australia.
コアラ。
I take a sip of my coffee.
あ、それはオーストラリアじゃないですか？
Kawase-san's face turns red at my words.
知ってるわ。冗談に決まってるでしょ。
そうですよね。間違えるわけないです。
当たり前よ。オーストリアといえばほらあれでしょ。パンダがいるよね。
Oh, Lord.
あ、それは冗談だってわかります。
そうよ。
ああ、川瀬さんは面白い人だな。
うるさい。
Kawase-san throws her paper cup at me. I wanted to break the ice by telling a joke, but Kawase-san and I were the only ones talking, and it's getting more awkward now. Tanamura-san, Sasaki-san, and Kuwagata-san are watching us, speechless.
どうも、コーヒー飲んだら近くなりました。
I decide to run away and stand up.
俺も行こっかな。
Tanamura-san gets up as well.
ありがとね。
Tanamura-san says in a quiet voice.
失敗してしまいましたけどね。
I hear footsteps from behind us. It's Kawase-san.
あれひばりちゃんも俺たちと一緒に表でツレション？雪見ながらだときっと気持ちいいよ。
What the fuck? This guy is so awkward. Tanamura-san teases her, but Kawase-san waves her hand dismissively.
甘子って冗談のセンスがかけらもないよね。やりたいことは分かったけど付き合ってやってるこっちが恥ずかしかったよ。まあ私も人のこと言えないけどさ。
Okay.
ひばりちゃんの冗談は今思うと面白い気もするね。
うるさいよ。それよりさ、ねえあのバカどうするの？
ひばりちゃんも俺がいい加減なの嫌じゃなかったの？
そうだけど暗いのはもっと嫌い。
Kawase-san makes an expression as if she swallowed something nasty and shakes her head.
でもどうするかな。たくちゃんの言い分は正論なんだよね。
Tanamura-san murmurs with a troubled face.
だけどあんなんじゃみんなも疲れちゃうよ。あのバカはそれがわからないのかしら。 ピリピリしすぎなのよね。
Can you really say that? You were doing the same thing just a couple of minutes ago. Not the joke scene, but when we were talking about the radio.
ひばりちゃんって意外と気を使う人なんだね。
だって今ここにいるメンバーでやっていくしかないんだから仕方ないじゃん。で、ねえ、どうすればもう少しリラックスして落ち着けると思う？
俺だったらね。
田野村だったら？
Hanamura-san rubs his cheeks and thinks.
そうだな。
Ah,
女の子のおっぱいとか触ってたらどんな時でも落ち着くな。
this is why this is a hentai game. He says with a serious expression.
はあ？こんな時にも冗談？バカじゃないの？本気だったら頭にウジかボウフラが湧いてるんだわ。
いや、そんなこと言うけど、男なんかみんなそんなもんだって。
I mean, I wouldn't deny that. I would probably relax more if I if I touch some boobs or something. Maybe.
あまこも？
基本的には同意します。
ほらほら。
そっか。じゃあ、あのバカに試してみるかな。でも私はそんなのたとえ死んでも嫌だからな。優しいユカッチならもしかしたら。
Wow, don't do that. What the fuck? You're fucked up. Wait. Okay, I misremembered. I thought Yukachi was this girl. So I guess Yuka is the other girl. This one's Hibari Kawase.
頼んでみる？
それは嫌だな。頼むよりもお酒とか飲ませてユカッチが酔っ払った隙に。
You know that's illegal, right?
こらこら、友達なんでしょ。
大丈夫だよ。後でちゃんと事情を話せばユカッチは怒らないよ。それにどうせおっぱいちょっと触らせるくらいでいいんでしょ。減るもんじゃないじゃん。
Are you serious?
それなら自分がやればいいのに。
だから私は死んでも嫌。
なんだか矛盾してますね。
とにかくそういうことで OK？
Of course not. What the fuck? What kind of friend are you? Tanomura-san ponders.
いや、それは。
I frown.
めんどくさいから反対意見は受け付けないよ。決定。
You're fucking insane. This girl's fucking insane. Are you crazy? What makes you think that that guy won't just try to rape her after that, you know? Kawase-san taps our backs.
なんだかな。
Tanomura-san looks utterly amazed.
どうなんでしょう。
I murmur as well.
じゃあ細かい作戦はね。
Kawase-san's voice is cut off by a voice from the chapel. Kawase-san covers her mouth as if she made a mistake.
全部こっちに聞こえてるんですけど。
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe she was actually just joking around. I don't know. At this point in time, I still don't know when someone is serious and when someone is not serious. Sasaki-san sounds embarrassed. Sasaki-san calls us back, so we return inside. Kuwagata-san and Sasaki-san are blushing and not looking at each other. Aroe, who's sitting between them, is shaking her body back and forth.
ごめんねユカッチ。
Kawase-san makes a sheepish grin, and Sasaki-san glares at her. Wait, did she actually pee with us? If she did, that's unexpected.
ユカッチは怒った方がいいと思うよ。友達売るなんてさ。
Sasaki-san glares at Tanomura-san as well.
確かに悪気はなかったと思いますけど、おそらく。
そうだからごめんね。
まあ、許してあげますけどね。
Sasaki-san looks dissatisfied, contrary to her words. She then pulls Aroe, who went too near the fire, into her arms.
すいません。僕が変なこと言ったせいでみんなに心配させてしまって。
Kuwagata-san sounds apologetic.
だからクワガタはそれだから。
いや、もうわかりました。ありがとうございます。
This group is surprisingly very tight for a group of randoms, right? I actually do like the atmosphere that they have. I wonder how crazy it's gonna get, though, if they keep living in this kind of situation. He smiles bitterly.
そうですよね。そんなことをごちゃごちゃ言ってる場合じゃないですよね。 元気を出していかないと。
本当？
ねえ、
Kuwagata-san nods.
ただ一つだけ気になってることがあるんですけど、いいですか？
He tilts his head in wonder as he stares at Kawase-san.
何？
Kawase-san sits up and stares back at him.
さっきコアラってあれやっぱり素で間違えたんですよね。
Why are you digging your own grave, Kuwagata? You stupid idiot.
ぶっ殺す！
Kawase-san kicks Kuwagata-san and his glasses fall off. It's so stupid. We didn't talk about how to live for now. The conversation goes on smoothly and we decide on our objective. Goals and assignment of roles. Once we run out of things to talk about, we start eating snacks. We then warm curry, make cup noodles, and start having dinner when I notice something. After the meal, we go to the room where the wind doesn't creep in and wrap ourselves up in blankets. What do you mean you notice something? There are no more aftershocks that night, and everyone quickly falls asleep from fatigue. I slowly fall asleep as well, but I wake up from a nearby sound. Oh, this is what he means. Aroe is sitting in front of me and is looking at her notebook. Okay.
何？
トイレください。
Aroe reads her notebook.
トイレ。
トイレ欲しいです。トイレください。
ああ。
I rub my sleepy eyes and take her to the bathroom. I get her inside and wait outside the door. I can hear splashing sounds and I can't really express what I'm feeling now. I yawn multiple times due to drowsiness and fatigue, and I recall what happened today. Many things occurred. The town was flooded. I saw many corpses and even saw people die right in front of me. I couldn't imagine such a life yesterday. I couldn't even imagine waiting like this in the hallway of an unknown church for a girl to finish her business. Aroe comes out while I'm pondering. I wipe her hands with wet tissues. I pull at her hand to go back to bed, but she lets go, stands in place, and flips through her notebook.
どうしたの？
I stand behind her and peek into the notebook. The page she is looking at has many headshots of people with their names written beneath them, such as Sensei or Fukasawa-san.
お姉さん。
Aroe asks,
お姉さんはどこですか？
Oh dear lord. I stand in place, not able to answer her. I'm shocked at the sudden question. How can I tell it to her so that she'll understand? No. First of all, is it right to tell her the truth? How long was I thinking for? Time ticks away without either one of us speaking, and Aroe finally yawns.
おやすみなさいします。
She leaves and heads back to bed. Please don't ask that kind of question. Jeez. December 29th. It's been 4 days since the earthquake. I've been walking around the church with a map since this morning. I'm jotting down where crevices have formed and places where it's flooded. It'd be fatal to go to such dangerous areas in the future if the snow covers the ground. And we'll also be able to tell the difference even if any other aftershocks change the terrain. And this isn't a practical reason, but gathering information should give us some peace of mind. We still do not have any information, and we have no way to find out what's happening. Anxiety flourishes without information, so we should observe the situation and gather information on our own in order to figure out what we should do. This was Tanomura-san's idea, and I have no objections with it. I started exploring, but I haven't met any survivors yet. I tried making a smoke signal, but the white smoke was lost in the cloudy sky and falling snow, so it wasn't effective. But I didn't meet dead people. Jeez. I noticed countless corpses we had previously overlooked while carefully trampling down the snow and mapping the landscape around me. For example, I was inspecting a landslide when I saw his hand sticking out. For example, I was surveying the scope of the flood when I saw black hair swaying deep into water. For example, I saw something red dripping out of a crushed car. I see all this just by walking around. I'm sure I'd find many more dead bodies if I decided to search through the collapsed buildings. My legs are tired by the time I make it back to the church. I brush the snow off of a nearby concrete block and sit on it. In front of me is the flooded town. The deep pool extends almost to my feet. The water's surface creates a dark gray reflection of the sky. I nibble on the cookies I'm carrying while holding the hand grip in my right hand. The springs creak. I watch the panoramic view in front of me. A wild bird is flying between the ruins. Birds can fly, so it must have been easy for them to survive the earthquake. Seeing the bird elegantly fly through the barren ruins is a fantastic sight. My sense of reality fades as I keep watching it, and strangely, I calm down. I feel faint. Then, I hear footsteps stomping on the snow from behind me. I turn back to see a dirty-looking man. Huh?
学生さんだよね。
What the hell? Are you delusioning? Are you delusional? I don't know if delusion can be like delusioning. I don't know if that's even a word. He's holding a briefcase and is wearing a gray coat, gray suit, a necktie which is coming apart, and a dirty business shirt. White snow is on his head and shoulders.
それくれないかい？
I hand him the whole bag of cookies.
ありがとう。ずっと何も食べていなかったんだ。それにしても地震が起きてから初めて他人に会ったよ。あまりにも生きてる人間がいないから、てっきり人間は滅亡したものだと思っていたよ。
He doesn't even look at the cookies I gave him and keeps talking.
生き残ったのは私一人じゃなかったんだね。まあそりゃそうか。そうだよな。しかしそれもまあ時間の問題だろうと思うがね。見なよこの町のありさまを。どれだけ生き残ったか知らんが、この先人が住んでいけるように見えるかい？実に静かだよ。地獄だってもうちょっと活気があるんじゃないか？こんな場所に住めるのは幽霊しかいないさ。さっぱりしたね。実にさっぱりしてしまった。
Okay, this is kind of creepy. The man starts laughing.
いや、そんな顔しないでくれよ、学生さん。学生さんで間違ってないだろ？そうだよな。学生って顔してるもの。私はしがないサラリーマンさ。サラリーマンだったと言った方が正しいのかもしれんがね。もう会社なんかなくなってしまったよ。女房がいて、息子がいて。いや、これもいたと過去形にした方が正しいのかもしれんが。何もか女房子供が死んだことはそんなに悲しくもないさ。
I thought he was done talking. Sorry about
悲
that.
しいかな。どっちだろうね。ただすっきりしたのは確かだよ。もちろん愛してはいたさ。信じてもらえるかはわからないが、確かに愛してはいたよ。当たり前だろ。だから怠け者の私が毎日朝から晩まで働いていたんだ。仕事なんか少しも楽しくなかったがね。それでも飯を食って働いて寝て起きたら働いて、休日は一日中寝て、馬車馬みたいに休むことなんか許されないで四六時中仕事ばっかりしていたさ。家族への愛のためにね。もっともその家族はもういないんだが、会社もないさ。当時は随分と苦しく思ったものだが、今思うとあれは何だったんだろうね。
I guess since this is the first time he saw people, he really just wants to talk his mouth. I mean, I get that, but he's being really creepy. I think his mind is already broken.
ねえ、聞いておくれよ。本当にあの苦しみは何だったんだい？ただ働いて、それが私の生活だったんだよ。何も楽しくなんかなかったよ。楽しいかどうかなんて考えることも忘れてしまうほどさ。考えたってどうにもならなくてね。だから考えないことが一番楽だったさ。それでもいつか何かあると思って頑張っていたのさ。それがこのありさま？なんだいこれは。何にもないじゃないか。あの私の苦しみはどこへ行ってしまったんだい。わかるかい学生さん。 わかるなら教えてくれよ。
Of course I don't understand, dude.
まったくひどい世の中だったさ。地獄そのものだったさ。楽しいことなんかなかったね。あのまま生きていたって報われることもなかったろうさ。分かっていたんだ。もともと出世にも金にも興味なんかありゃしなかったさ。それなのにただひたすら働いていたんだ。いつか何か報われるんじゃないかってね。でも結果なんか何一つ出ないうちに全部壊れてしまった。バカみたいな話じゃないか。
Can you stop laughing after every single sentence? Or... That's so creepy.
学生さんはこんな話は聞きたくないか。
No, I don't.
無理しなくたっていいよ。しかしまあ、せっかくこんな世の中で偶然生き残って偶然出会ったんだ。これも何かの縁だと思えば、ちょっとくらい私の話を聞いてくれてもいいんじゃないか。退屈ならまあ私を軽蔑でもしながら聞いてくれよ。誰かを見下すって実に甘美で気分のいいものだろう。
I would think that most people would feel good when they have someone to look down to, but I don't really think that. I don't even care about it, really.
なんだかね、このところずっと頭の中がメントールを塗ったみたいにスーッとしてるよ。とにかくやたら自由になってしまった。会社も壊れた。家族も死んだ。そして私は完全な自由を手に入れてしまったんだよ。実にすっきりさっぱりだよ。しかしなぜだか虚しいんだ。今の私の気持ちを分かってくれるかい？それとも分からないかい？
I don't think I care, dude.
答えてくれなくたっていいさ。その代わり学生さん、それならあんたに教えてほしいんだ。私はどうしてここに生き残ってしまったんだ？やるべき仕事もない。愛するものもない。欲望もない。ただ生きてるだけさ。生きて自由なだけさ。生きてたってしょうがないさ。かといって全然死にたくなんかはないね。かえって少しでも長く生きていたいよ。こんなんでいいのかね。なんだか悪いような気もしてるよ。誰に対しての気持ちなんだろうな。誰もいやしないってのにね。
You know, this kind of thought is not wrong, though. I do agree with this part of the paragraph at least, but before, I don't know, you were kind of psycho.
え？一緒に？救助を待つ？それはダメだ。私はいいよ。ちょっとあんたと話してみたかっただけなんだ。このお菓子は返すよ。本当は何も食べたくなんかないんだ。それに乾き物は嫌いさ。喉に詰まるからね。じゃあもう私は行くよ。一人で大丈夫だ。
Jeez.
一人でずっとこの街を歩いていたいんだ。昔の思い出に浸りながらね。誰かに救助されるなんて想像しただけで気持ち悪くなってしまう。もうすっきりさっぱりだからね。私なんか一人でそっとしておくのが一番だ。救助なんてバカバカしいったらありゃしない。それじゃあ悪かったね、学生さん。最後まで話を聞いてくれてありがとう。君は私の友達だよ。同情なんかしないでくれ。別になんともないよ。もういいんだ。それより雪がたくさん降っているね。とても美しいじゃないか。美しいって思う気持ちは素晴らしいね。なんだか内側から綺麗になるみたいさ。それじゃあ私は歩いていくよ。さよなら。君に幸あれ。
This doesn't feel like a Mako at all. Like, he wasn't even responding. This feels strange. The man waves his hand and walks off with quick steps. After the man disappears, I look again at the scenery before me and nibble on the cookies he gave back to me. My mouth is numb from the cold and I keep dropping crumbs. My mind is hazy.
何してるんですか？
Sasaki-san, who is wearing an apron, is standing in front of me when I notice.
何がですか？
I panic a bit. I didn't notice her approaching me.
雪が積もってますよ。
Sasaki-san points to my head. I shake my head, and lots of snow dumps down. There's snow piled up on my shoulders, too.
ちょっと考え事をしてたんです。
こんなに雪をかぶってしまうくらい長い間、夢中で考えてたんですか？すぐ近くなんだから、教会に入ればいいのに。なかなか帰ってこないから心配しちゃいましたよ。
Sasaki-san seems a bit angry.
すみません。
I bow and Sasaki-san smiles. Is that like what Amako truly feels? Like he doesn't care about being saved and whatnot? But he doesn't want to die? Is that how he feels? I don't think that was a person because the silhouette itself just looks weird and strange.
寒くないですか？
いや、あんまり。
それは結構鈍いですよ。
自分では気がつきませんけど、そうなんでしょうか。
Sasaki-san smiles.
田野村さんたちはもう帰ってますよ。そろそろご飯です。一緒に戻りましょう。
I stand up and the hand grip falls from my lap. It's the hand grip I'm using every day to recover the function of my right hand. I pick it up and head to the church with Sasaki-san. Everyone is gathered in the chapel. Hanamura-san is tweaking an old CD player that he must have found, while Kuwagata-san is thoroughly wiping his glasses. Kawase-san and Aroe are squatting down, doing something. There's a pot over the fire in the middle of the room. Sasaki-san puts on gloves and lifts the lid. Steam smelling like milk escapes the pot. Today's dinner is cream stew that Sasaki-san made and French bread that was left in the store. That looks a pretty decent meal, actually.
どうですか？
Sasaki-san asks timidly.
すごく美味しいです。
Kuwagata-san's glasses are fogged up.
ほんと美味しいよ。料理上手なんだね。じゃがいもとかすごい丁寧に剥いてあるし、こういう細かいところをきちっとするのはやっぱり性格なんだろうな。こんな設備のないところでよくこれだけしっかり作れると思うよ。
I agree. Hanamura-san nods in admiration. Sasaki-san is smiling with embarrassment.
あんた大雑把すぎ。口に入るよりこぼしてる方が量多いじゃないの。
It seems Kawase-san can't ignore Aroe, who is spilling her food while eating next to her. Kawase-san keeps scolding her, but she must not know why she's being scolded. She just looks at Kawase-san in wonder every time, and she keeps moving her spoon, so the chicken meat drops onto the table. She's tilting the spoon too much and the soup is spilling out as well. But Aroe doesn't seem to care as she slowly moves the spoon to her mouth and sips what's left of the soup.
そのすごく非効率的な食べ方がイライラする。食べ終わるまで何年かかるのよ。
Jeez. Kawase-san hits the table in irritation.
食べ方がイライラする。
Aroe laughs, copies Kawase-san and hits the table.
あんたお皿の並べ方とか几帳面に気にするくせにどうしてそういうのは適当なの？適当なの？ウキーウキー。
なんか仲いいですよね。
Okay. Kuwagata-san sounds dumbfounded.
よくないわよ。
Kawase-san bangs the table again. Man, Aroe's voice still makes me, like, shiver. Aroe bangs the table as well.
田野村さん、何がおかしいの？何がおかしいの？
いやいや別に。
He denies it, but he's smiling.
嫌なやつ。嫌なやつ。真似しないでよ。真似しないでよ。もう嫌。
Kawase-san screams.
もう嫌。
Aroe screams as well, as if to compete against her.
あんなこと言ってるけど、今日は一日中ずっとアロエちゃんにつきっきりだったんですよ。
Sasaki-san whispers in my ear while smiling bitterly.
面倒見が良すぎるんですね。
そうなんですよ。今だって隣にわざわざ座らせたのはひばりなんですから。
ゆかっち、司と何内緒話してるの？
Okay, so his name is Amako Tsukasa. I thought it was Tsubasa for some reason.
いや、なんでもないわよ。
嘘だ、悪口言ってたでしょ。オーストリアとオーストラリアの区別もつかないバカとか言ってたんだ。そうに決まってる。
No, we're past that, okay? It's 4 days after that event, you know.
もしかしてそれ気にしてるの？
うるさいよ。
まあまあ。
Tanamura-san calms Kawase-san down, then spreads a map out on the table. He and Kuwagata-san were drawing a map of a different part of the town.
あれ、だいぶ書き込みの範囲が大きいですね。
They were investigating the area on the other side of the school, and they've drawn in a much larger area than I expected.
それを今から説明しようと思って。とりあえずみんな地図をよく見てくれるかな。
At his words, everyone looks at the map. Aroi copies everyone's motion.
日照の向こうに丘があって、そこに登ったら街が見下ろせたんだ。それでちょっと遠くまで見えたんだよね。
Okay.
それじゃあ、この青いボールペンで書かれている線は水没した地域との境界線を表しているんですか？
そうだね。見えなくて想像で書いた部分も多いから大まかなものでしかないけれど、それでも目安くらいにはできると思う。どう？今まで思ってたよりはずっと狭いんじゃないかな。
Looking at the map, I can see that most of the submerged areas are in the shopping district, in the northwest region. As a whole, it consists of about 40% of the area. It's still a large area, but it's certainly small considering the fact that we thought most of the town was flooded.
浸水の形からすると多分この辺りが崩れて、
Tanamura-san points to the mountains in the north.
きっとこの湖の水が移動してきたんだと思う。
Okay, that makes sense.
僕行ったことがあります。ワカサギがたくさん釣れる湖ですね。
そうだね。よく水の中を観察したらワカサギ泳いでるかもね。そのうち暇になったらゆっくり釣りでもしたいもんだな。
Tanamura-san smiles, then quickly stares at the map seriously again. He circles his finger around the area without anything drawn in.
まだこれだけの乾いた地域があるんだ。他の人はこっち側に避難してるんじゃないかな。
この教会の周りと違って市街地ですからね。もしかしたら施設も生き残ってるかもしれないし、多分ここにいるよりはマシでしょう。僕たちも向こうへ行った方がいいはずですよ。
Yo, Kuwagata. Already some character development. What the fuck? Awesome, dude. Kuwagata-san finishes Tanamura-san's thought.
ただ、ここからだと沼を挟んでまるっきり正反対ですよね。回り込むとすると結構な距離になりませんか？
I ask. He must have seen the question coming, so he nods and starts explaining.
もし沼を迂回するとしたら、こう北のスーパーの方へ行くか、西に回って日照の方から行かないといけないんだけれど。
土砂崩れと書いてありますね。
そう、まだ記憶に残ってると思うけれど、小学校のあたりは派手に斜面が削れてたよね。
ええ、校舎の瓦礫が飲まれていました。
あの辺は地盤が緩いんだろう。その上に雪まで積もってるし、今日調べてみた感じじゃ、あの上を歩くのはちょっと危なすぎると思う。少し触るとポロポロ崩れちゃうところもあった。
じゃあスーパーの方ですか？
そうしたいけど、こっちはこっちでちょっと地面の状態が良くないよ。さっきの予想通りに北から水が流れ込んだのだとしたら、この辺りは水の通り道になっていたはずだよね。山の方も伝っていけるような感じじゃないし。あの辺の風景は天子くんも知ってるでしょ？
I nod. The ground was wet when I first went there, and it was worse when I went there later on. There were even places that were like marshes.
だからこっちの道も危ないと思う。
でもそんなこと言ったってどっちかを通らなきゃならないんでしょ。私は泥の方でいいよ。早くもっと人がいるところに行きたい。
Kawase-san stares into Tanamura-san's eyes.
まあそう焦らないで。俺はここでもう一つの提案を用意してるんだ。
提案って何よ？
こうやっていくのはどうだろう。
Tanamura-san moves his finger straight across the lake. After thinking for a bit, Kawase-san nods in agreement.
なるほど、トンネル作戦か。
穴なんか掘らないよ。それじゃ何年もかかっちゃう。
This girl, dude. Tanamura-san smiles bitterly.
ボートか何かで渡っていくんですね。
そう、さすが天子くんだね。
You know, this game is kind of surprising me. I would have thought that most people would have freaked out already, so I didn't think they would create this kind of atmosphere. Well, the better the atmosphere, the more despair you were gonna feel when something messes up, right? I'm just saying, but I know how things will happen, I guess. Something bad is going to happen. I'm just waiting for it.
いや、普通そう思うでしょ
Kawase-san glares at me.
う。まあ、川瀬さんくらい元気なら泳げるのかもしれないですよね。
うるさいわね、余計なお世話よ。
そうですか。それはともかく。
天子さんってクールですね。
Kuwagata-san speaks.
僕もその水を渡っていく方法はベストだと思います。だけれど肝心の乗り物はどうするんですか？その方法も考えてあるんでしょう。
もちろん。
Crucial means of transportation. Tanamura-san holds up an index finger.
イカダを作ろうと思うんだ。
Okay, makes sense.
イカダ？そんなの手作りでも大丈夫なの？
If we cut up some big trees, we definitely could, but I don't know if there's like big trees just lying there.
大丈夫だと思うよ。
でも
僕もできるって思います。
Kuwagata-san interrupts.
僕、子供の時にイカダをよく作って遊んでました。結構なんとかなるもんですよ。少なくとも土砂崩れした道や泥沼を渡るよりはずっと安全だと思います。海や川みたいに水が動いてるわけではなくて、水面も穏やかですし。
あんた顔に似合わずそんなアウトドアっぽい遊びしてたの？
You're so rude, Hibari.
はい、僕小さい頃ハックベリーフィンの冒険に憧れてたんですよ。それでイカダで川を下っていくのをやってみたいなって。
つまんないことしてるわね。そのまま海に流されちゃえばよかったのに。
This girl has such a pouty mouth.
そんな
Potty mouth. Pouty? Potty? I don't know.
そういうのって女の子にはわからないんだよ。
Tanamura-san intervenes.
やっぱり不安だわ。
Kawase-san starts pondering without paying attention to Kuwagata-san, who looks depressed now.
そこまで不安があることもないですよ。そんなに深くなさそうですよ。水は冷たいと思いますが、少なくとも溺れるようなことはないんじゃないかな。
Kawase-san only groans.
ひばりちゃんはどうしてそんなに嫌なの？
嫌なものは嫌なの。なんだっていいでしょ。
むちゃくちゃだな。
ゆかっちはどう思うのよ。
私も崩れた場所とか歩く方が怖いですね。他の方法があるならその方がいいなと思います。イカダでも何でも作る方が安全でしょうね。
ゆかっち。
でもひばりの気持ちもわかるんです。
ゆかっち。
ひばりはすごい金槌なんですよ。
Kind of
お
expected
風呂
that.
も湯船には一人で入れないんです。彼女の水は特別に怖いものだというその気持ちも理解してあげてください。
ゆかっち。
Kawase-san tugs Sasaki-san's arm.
でもわがままを言うならちゃんと理由を説明しないとダメでしょ。
もう
そう言われちゃ無理にとは言えないけど。困ったな。
Tanamura-san makes a serious face.
ああ、だからさっき川下りの話した時あんなに嫌がってたんですね。そりゃ泳げなかったら理解できないですよね。
Oh, sorry, Kuwagata. Kuwagata-san puts his hand on his chin and ponders.
それなら僕はトンネル作戦でもいいですよ。
大丈夫よ。私は怖くなんかないわ。バカにしないでよ。
Kawase-san gets angry.
イカダでしょ。イカダに乗ればいいんでしょ。ハックルベリーフィンだかサンキューベリーマッチだか知らないけどそれで行こうじゃないよ。
She becomes agitated and starts stomping the ground.
弱点を克服するなんて偉いわひばり。
ゆかっちうるさい。
どうしても怖いなら 俺が抱きしめて安心させてあげるからさ。
花村気持ち悪い。
金槌だからって僕は決してバカにしないから。
クワガタ喋んな。
トンネル作戦も楽しそうでしたけどね。
お前後で説教な。
This atmosphere is actually not bad. Kinda feeling a sense of bond between these guys. Kawase-san notices that Aroe is looking at her notebook. Well, except for Aroe, of course, but I don't know how to feel about Aroe.
あんたも何か言いたいってわけ？
She glares at her and intimidates her. She frowns.
言うと思ったわよ。いくらでも飲めばいいでしょ。
Kawase-san takes the mug already in her hand and smacks it down in front of Aroe. Some coffee spills onto the table.
疲れたからもう寝る。あとはみんなで勝手に決めてよ。
Kawase-san walks off in a hurry. I really don't know what to think of Aroe, really. Night arrives. The chapel is so quiet that it feels like I could hear the snow falling if I strain my ears. I write the electronic organ in the corner of the room and sit in front of it. I write? What does that mean? I take off my thick gloves, quietly set my fingers on the keyboard, and feel the smooth, cold plastic beneath my hands. Even when I press the keyboard, it doesn't make a noise. But I play an etude while imagining the music. In reality, there's only the faint clacking of keys being struck. My fingers don't flow well on the keyboard. Is it because I'm not used to this one? Or is it because my fingers are numb? No, I think the biggest factor is that I haven't practiced for a few days. The fact that there's no sound and that the keyboard feels strange is disconcerting. But I'm slowly getting in the mood, I think. I'm only fooling myself, but it's better than nothing. I don't smoke, but I think this is how smokers feel when they desperately put something in their mouth while they're trying to quit. After playing 4 songs, I hear something. It seems someone woke up. I hear someone stand up, exit the room, and begin walking to this room. The sound of high heels tells me it's Sasaki-san. I stop playing and wait for her to show up. Okay, I guess he is a musician, so he's a pianist. Kinda makes sense that he would have good hearing. Sasaki-san appears while holding her sleeves together against the cold. Her breath is white.
眠れないんですか？
She asks me,
いや、寝ようとすれば眠れますよ。僕はそういうの得意なんです。
いいな。私は目が冴えてしまって。
Sasaki-san walks over, touches the organ, and remarks that it's really old. I agree. It's been a while since the disaster. Sasaki-san is prioritizing living over looks. Living over looks, okay. So she doesn't have any makeup on, but her eyelashes are naturally curled and charming.
あまこさんはまだピアノをやってるんですか？
Sasaki-san asks right as I'm about to close the lid. The word still catches my attention.
あれ？何かついてます？
Sasaki-san touches her face since I'm staring at her.
違います。今まだって言いましたけど、僕がピアノやってたって話してないですよね。以前から僕を知ってたんでしょうか？昔の雑誌か何かですか？
I ask and Sasaki-san smiles.
違いますよ。だってあなたは天子司さんですよね。
え
私は佐々木由香ですよ。
え、知ってます。
わかりました？
答えになってませんよ。
そんなことないです。本当は答えになってるんですよ。天子さんが気がつかないだけです。
I guess we knew each other somewhere, but Amako doesn't remember her? Sasaki-san laughs a bit. I strike my palm with my fist.
思い出したんですか？
いや、本当にわかるかもしれないとふりをしてみただけです。でも無駄でしたね。
This guy is really awkward, but I like him. What the fuck? I like this guy.
あらら。
Sasaki-san smiles bitterly.
別にもったいつけることでもないので言いますね。多分覚えてると思うんですけど。
ちょっと待ってください。
何ですか？
どうも悪い気がするので、自分で気がつきたいです。答えじゃなくてヒントでくれませんか？
ヒントですか？
While starting to ponder, Sasaki-san raises her white fingers and begins to fiddle with her soft earlobe. I strike my palm with my fist again.
また振りですか？
いや、今度は本当に分かったんです。僕たち10年前のピアノコンクールで会ったんですよね。
正解です。でもどうして突然気がついたんですか？
その仕草に見覚えがあります。
仕草？
I copy what Sasaki-san is doing even now.
これ癖なんです。直したはずなのにダメだな。
Sasaki-san lets go of her ear, embarrassed.
覚えてますよ。確かに覚えてます。ただ、あの頃よりずっと大人になってしまってるので、なかなか結びつきませんでした。
Well, it has been 10 years, dude.
そりゃあの時はまだ小学生だったじゃないですか。私だって成長くらいしますよ。しなかったらおかしいです。
なるほど。確かにそうですね。
そうですよ。覚えててくれてありがとうございます。
でも、僕だって変わったはずじゃないですか。佐々木さんはそれなのによく僕に気がつきましたね。
そりゃ忘れませんよ。父親が指揮者の尼子さんなんて他にいないですよ。
でも、昔僕は父の話なんかしましたっけ？
してないですけど、後で雑誌を読んで知りましたよ。
そうなんですか。そんなことまで書いてあったんですか。
そりゃそうですよ。すごい記事でしたよ。天才少年現るとか、ホロビッツの再来だとか、大絶賛でしたよ。それにあんな格好だったし。
すごいですね。何回か取材が来たのは覚えていますけど。
知らなかったんですか？
父は雑誌が嫌いでしたから、うちにもなくて。
それじゃあ思い出したところで最初の私の質問に答えてもらえますか？
何でしたっけ？
まだピアノをやってるんですかって質問です。
まだやってますよ。
そうなんですか。私普通の大学に通ってるって言ってたから、てっきりやめてしまったのかと勝手に思ってて。
あの頃みたいにピアノだけやってるわけじゃないんです。第一、やらせてはもらえません。むしろ周りの人はもうやめろと言っていますよ。
Huh, why is that?
どうしてですか？
僕、あのすぐ後交通事故に遭って
alright.
右手の指が動かなくなったんです。
Well, that's why he was using the grip or whatever, right? I should have paid more attention to that. Sorry, dude.
え？
Sasaki-san looks astonished.
気がつきませんでしたか？僕の右手、ほとんど握力がないんです。
Damn. I hold out my right hand.
ちょっといいですか？
She asks, then takes my right hand. Her fingers brush my hand, and I feel her touch and warmth.
見ても何もわからないですよ。動くようにはなったし、日常生活でそこまで不都合はないんですが、それでも前みたいにピアノを弾けるまでには回復していません。
そんなのって全然弾けなくなっちゃったんですか？
弾けないことはないんですが、まともな音は出ませんね。だから父なんかはもう弾くなって言ってるんですよ。惨めったらしくて不快だって。
Damn.
そんな。
でも確かにそうなんです。だからうちのピアノももう触らせてもらえなくなりました。
そうなんですか。
それで僕は自分のアパートにピアノ買ったんですけれど、ピアノって高いんですね。中古でも全然思うようなのが買えないんですよ。結局アップライトピアノです。ルービンシュタインじゃないんですから練習になりませんよ。
今までどんなピアノ使ってたんですか？
I tell her the brand.
そんなの普通の人が買えるわけないですよ。
Sasaki-san sounds a bit mad.
そうなんですよね。それで全財産はたいて買ったアップライトピアノだったんですが、それもこの地震で壊れてしまって、またお金貯めないと。もし生活が元通りになっても、ああいうのはきっと誰も弁償してくれないんでしょうね。
There's no way.
本当に困ります。
Yeah, there's no way they would cover this expense.
本当にピアノが好きなんですね。
好きっていうよりも、いや、まあ好きなんでしょ
そんなに大好きなのに手を怪我してしまっただなんて、どんなに辛かったのかなって思いますよ。大事なものを失うのって辛いことですよね。
そうは思っていないんですよ。
え？
何も失わなかったわけじゃないけど、一番必要なものは何も失っていないと思ってるんです。死んでしまったわけじゃないし、今こうやって大災害で生き残ってしまうと、一層はっきりと自覚します。
So is your dad like already dead or something? I don't remember about what he said about his family, by the way.
尼子さんって強いですね。
そんなことないですよ。
私だったらとても耐えられないです。いくら命が無事だからって大事な手を怪我してしまうなんて。
いや、
I'm troubled by her compassionate attitude, and I decide to change the subject.
何にしろ今は平穏な生活を取り戻すのが第一ですね。たとえ世界的なピアニストでもこんな状況じゃホールでコンサートというわけにはいかないでしょ
そうですね。
Sasaki-san nods.
今のままじゃちょっと不便すぎますよね。
う。佐々木さんは元に戻ったらまず何をしたいですか？
私は暖かい部屋で眠ったりお風呂に浸かったりしたいです。
Sasaki-san smiles a bit.
いいですね。それまではここで健康に過ごしていきましょう。
そうですね。
Sasaki-san nods.
やっぱり尼子さんはすごいな。
そんな。
本当ですよ。強いです。子供の時から私とは違うなって思ってました。あの時も私になんかとても真似できない演奏をしていて。
Oh, she's done? Okay. I thought she wasn't done.
だから尼子さんにはいつか怪我を克服してまたすごい演奏ができるようになってほしいです。私も応援します。
Sasaki-san clutches her chest and smiles.
ありがとうございます。
I close the organ's lid.
もう寝ましょう。明日があります。
Sasaki-san nods back. That was a pretty cute scene, actually. And with that, I think I'm gonna end the episode here. I think two scenes or two of those, whenever those titles come out, whenever two of those titles come out, I think is a good place to end. Is that a scene? Do you consider that a scene? I think it's like I don't know, a chapter maybe. Or Amako's or Tsukasa's chapter. But yeah, it's picking up really fast after the prologue. I'm enjoying it. Especially, like, the atmosphere of the game is surprisingly not as I expected, and that's really cool. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. This is a really, really nice read. Like, the thing is about this game is that they also don't, like, most games would probably make a big deal out of Kawagata's outburst, right? And Kawagata would probably do something dumb after that. But that guy apologizes really fast, and you know, I like that. But yeah, that's it for now. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you all for watching. See ya.